Welcome to turning a moment into a movement.
Just let the light of mine. I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. Just let the light of mine. Just let the light of mine. I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. Oh Lord, just let it shine. This light of mine, this light of mine. Oh Lord, would you please just let it shine. Take the drama out of my life. Oh Lord, every night, the pain ain't right. I wake up at night, I never sleep. 26, 10, and 7, that's just me. Every day I need a little seed. I need a little fresh air, man, I need to breathe. All I know is trauma, all I know is tickets. All I know is no visit, all I know is a mission to get straight up out of prison. Lord have mercy for it. Lord have mercy on my people. Preacher Mary Washington and all my real. Lord have mercy with my people. I pray to God, we really need you. When I was down bad, when things weren't going right, every time I prayed at night, I put my hands up in my face. I said, Lord have mercy, little light of mine. Lord God, please let it shine. It's the drama that I live in my life. I swear to God, I was a bad guy every night. 10 toes down, salute. Everybody suffering, everybody who trying to make a way. Everybody looking for the sky, everybody looking for that piece of pie. In a law library, I know what that feel like. Hoping that somebody get active and involved in your situation. Man, pop your collar and pray. Cause Lord have mercy on my soul. And they make bad guy father get out soon. And the rest of those brothers who be mobbing to child each morning. Oh man, I ain't going to this afternoon. Man, I'ma miss dinner today. I got a couple of noodles. You know what that feel like? Yeah, you know what it is. And if you a victim of a wrongful conviction, suffered and served by Ken Worthy, then I know that you know what that pain feel like. And your mama know what that pain feel like. Your father know what that pain feel like. With that light, let that little shine. Let that light shine, a little light of mine. Bad guy, Doughboy Week, all these great people in this great world of ours. 10 toes down, salute. I appreciate you, bad guy. I appreciate you, Week. I appreciate the tech. I appreciate everybody in the studio. We gonna pop off that LV, ooh-wee, cause that's what they be liking to see. But I hope you hear the missing when you see me fresh. Salute.
Hi, greetings everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight on a pop-up, turning a moment into a movement. I am J Love. I am the founder and the creator of Turning a Moment into a movement, and also the Justice for Gerard movement. Gerard is my son who was wrongly convicted for a crime he didn't do, innocent, and he went to prison for that crime. And so because of that journey with him and all the people that I met on that journey, we created this platform called Turning a Moment into a Movement. So thank you for joining us. Although we're on summer break, we still pop in from time to time. And tonight was a great reason to pop in. Before we get started, I just want to read the mission statement. Our mission here at Turning a Moment into a Movement is to bring awareness to all that are impacted from being wrongly convicted, overly sentenced, mentally ill, and medically frail in our community. To inspire, organize, and educate all communities about the needs to disrupt systems, policies, and patterns of the criminal legal system that leads to wrongful convictions. So thank you for joining us tonight. The title tonight is In Sickness and in Change, the Human Cost of Prison Medical Neglect. And as you guys, we've been talking about Krystal for the last few weeks, actually, because every day something comes up that's more impactful in her situation than the week before. And so, but this story tonight, we're here to talk about what happens when prisons not only take away freedom, but they also deny people their basic right to health care. Our guest tonight, Darwin Page, knows this firsthand. And what should have been a routine surgery turned into infections, complications, and even loss of his toe because of the neglect inside a Michigan prison. So Darwin's story connects directly to Krystal's, who is right now fighting for her life at Women's Huron Valley. So both of them show us the need, the reality for prison sentences um, that sometimes become death sentences. So tonight we're going to talk about their stories, the system that fails them, and what it means to push for real accountability. So before we get started, I want to introduce the panel. I'm going to start off with Marcus. Hey, Marcus.
Hey, I'm sorry. I know I was on mute. What up, though?
What up, Marcus? Introduce yourself. Tell everyone who you are and what it is that you do.
My name is Marcus Kelly, the founder of the Change Up Midnight Coalition. I am an organizer, trainer, and advocate for the full restoration and enfranchisement of impacted communities. I really got into this movement beginning in Michigan Department of Corrections, advocating for education, a grievance procedure because it was blocking grievances, feeding the spoiled food with maggots, and an experiment on people with medication. And so we ended up having a hunger strike as a result. They got rid of Aramark, and further studies is when I realized that legally, according to the Constitution, that we were slaves if you convicted of a crime. So since being home, I started working. I went straight to Nevada, started working on the slavery bill with in coalition with other organizations such as Mass Liberation Network, Project Nevada, and others to get slavery out of Nevada's Constitution. And then I came back to Michigan to get it out of our Constitution. So that's where I actually started organizing. And yeah, that's who I am. Formerly incarcerated, of course, just as impacted. And yeah, that's it.
So, Marcus, you been doing a lot of work on. You got a documentary or something that you're working on.
Yes, I'm working on a film, a documentary. Right now, the title is Forgotten Voices, and it's going to be highlighting what slavery actually looks like in today's society, with especially with the prison, and how they completely ignore people with medical issues, deliberate indifference when it comes to medical attention for people in prison who depend on the state for care because they have no other choice. Yes, and I think I missed the other part of the question.
No, we're talking about the documentary, but also you are a big part of working with us with this movement to free Krystal, and so you're a big part of that and all the work that we've been doing together, and we're just like a big family now for Krystal, and
yes.
We all talk to her now every day.
Yes, I can honestly tell you it's an honor serving next to you. Anytime I see someone, in this case, my sister suffering at the behest of the Department of Corrections, then I feel it's my duty as not just a human being, but as someone who's been in those shoes before, to actually come back and fight with her and for her. And next to my new family, J Love and Trisha, and all the people and all the wonderful people that's brave enough, they got brave enough to stepped up and fought. And not saying that others not brave. I know with this new administration, we have so many different fights that everybody got a bite at the apple and bite at the elephant from different angles. I'm just saying that this is a call in. That's
Yeah.
I just say this is a call in for action because we have somebody that's seriously dying right now that we can actually help. So it's an honor.
Right. And I want to say this one other thing too before I go to the next. I want to piggyback on something you said. Like, it's not easy, and so we want to thank everybody because everything or anything you have done to help us push the story, Krystal story of hell, talk about just the neglect in the prisons, healthcare system, just anything that you have done, wrote a letter, signed a petition,
Even
brought a
sharing.
yes, we appreciate it. And so I want to say that tonight. Like everybody, we all need it. And so in any capacity that you can step in and do something to help, we appreciate it. So I just want to say that tonight. And I want to tell, because Krystal always says this every night. She wants everybody to know that she loves them and she also appreciates everything that you're doing and that everybody's doing. So thank you from all of us to every one of you. So next, I thought Revertier was here, but something was going on. So we're gonna move right on to Trisha. Hello.
What up, though?
What up, dog? I'm gonna break out and start jitting in a minute. Look,
Trisha, how are you this evening?
You know what? I'm blessed. I'm gonna say that. I'm blessed in spite of any mess, because it's all kind of hell and chaos breaking loose. But because I got my eyes fixed on the prize, my faith tells me that no matter what chaos is going on, my focus is on what's to come. And I think that's so important, because if you focus on the chaos, you're going to manifest more of it, right? Mm-hmm. And so, not to say you don't have your moments, because I've had plenty, but it's about not staying there. About realizing that we have the power of manifestation. It's really our superpower, really, to be honest, if we really tap into it. And so I'm just grateful because, like I said, it is a lot going on. So my prayers out to everybody that's battling anything, and definitely sending love to our sister Krystal. And happy to be on tonight. One of my fellow comrades is going to be on, Darwin. So Darwin's been through a lot. So I'm just grateful for the space for him to be able to release and share that could also help somebody else.
Yes. So I saw before we bring on our guest, because Trisha, I'm come back to you so you can introduce our guest. I see Revertia is back. Let me pop her on. Hey, Revertia.
Hello there. How are you?
Oh, we're good.
Yes, it's good to see everyone this evening.
what
You in
up,
the car?
It's very important that we continue the work that we're doing. And I just think that the veil needs to be lifted on all of the atrocities that are happening in the prison system and in the prisons, especially in Michigan, because this is where we are. And, when you look at the history, it is astounding. And so I'm coming to you from the choice zone where your choice matters. And I'm so excited to be here this evening with powerful people who are consistently have their boots on the ground and are going to work on behalf of Krystal and so many others. So I'm pleased to be here and I feel honored. Thank you so much for all that you guys do. And thank you for what is happening right now, because change is happening. And as long as we don't let up. Thank you.
Exactly. Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So, Trisha, we're going to bounce back to you. Could you introduce our guest?
Yeah, so tonight, I'm grateful to be bringing on one of my good friends. I met Darwin, and then I didn't see Darwin for many, many years. And I'm gonna let Darwin tell us his own story as far as all that he wants to tell. Might have to bring him back for a part two for the other story, but um, got reconnected with Darwin while he was inside of MDOC through one of our mutual friends that I'm gonna say we was going to school since middle school, and connected since middle school. And so reconnected through that friend and just learn, some of the atrocities that was taking place and some of the things that was going on in MDOC, and just to learn all of the things that have been done. But to see Darwin's fight and to not give up, even in the midst of his battle, he's still battling. So we happy to bring on tonight Darwin Page. Some might know him as D Page, some might know him as Face, because he's a man that's a producer as well and does music. So happy to have Darwin Page with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I know that I'm supposed to tell a little bit about myself, but to be honest with you, everything that we face coming from prison as an obstacle, I've been facing it. So that's what I am. That's my story. Whatever it is that we had to face, whatever it is, whatever plight uphill, I've been facing it. But I've been doing it with a little more faith than the average person. So uh, hopefully my results and what I have going on currently in the judicial system will bring some light to what's really going on behind those walls, because I was subjected to it for 31 and a half years, beginning as a 16-year-old child. So I'm not talking about a few months or a few moments or just a few injuries. I'm talking about the having to protect yourself and hands broken and have to hide them to not go to the hole. That's why I just had surgery, broken hands here. So I am that struggle, but the thing about it is nothing lasts forever and it always gets better. And that's the part that I'm here to convey.
Awesome.
So tell us a little bit about your journey, medical journey.
1995, I was 19 years old. I was an athlete, always a little big for my size. Began stubbing my toe, turf toe, playing basketball on the basketball court and football field, and regular injuries that you could normally nurse and heal. But when you go to healthcare, all they tell you is just, hi, wrap it up and don't smoke and take some ibuprofen. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Charge you a copayment for it, take your money. But then there's no follow-up, no treatment. So after years of that happening, your body begins to break down. It's like a whole bunch of cries falling on deaf ears. When your body begins to hurt, your head hurts, it's telling you something wrong with another part of your body. And you constantly having migraines and you falling apart and you don't know why until everything just collapses together, then you infirm. And it's a blanket that get poured over it because it's nothing but a small copay. But they don't know that those small copays are small symptoms to bigger issues. And when you are in certain positions, even certain races, closer to the door, closer to getting out, you have programmings that's available to you. Everything else is pretty much blanketed over. You're no longer a priority. So it's all about the numbers. In order to really make a change about this, we have to affect the numbers. And how do we affect the numbers? By bringing it to people's attention what's happening every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately for me, I was able to document over that from 1995 all the way to 2023 when I came home. I stayed faithful in documenting my paper trail with everything that was wrong with me. I kept crying on deaf ears. People that didn't even want to hear about it, I kept talking about it. And then it's like when one person on the outside that can hear you, just hear a little bit of your perspective, and they can drop a pebble in the pond, and then this happens because I felt like I was by myself, and this is the second lawsuit that I filed on these same people. Like I was made to look like I was being crazy for pursuing it. Like I literally I was persecuted for it. I was placed in segregation on Christmas Eve of 2021, 2022, before I came home in a wheelchair, cuffed behind my back with my coat over my head in shorts in the middle of a blizzard, and drugged down and walked to segregation because I wouldn't stop complaining about it.
You know, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
This is the most important part. Have the people that believe. I've said these cries for 30 years. Everybody just now hearing about who Darwin Page is. I've been home since May 9th, 2023. I haven't been able to stand up erect or stand peacefully on my feet without knife pains shearing through my feet since I've been home. I lay in bed as if I'm in prison.
I know your story it sounds, some of the things you said are some of the things that we heard from Krystal.
And she'll tell you, they will acknowledge it in the paperwork. The only thing they acknowledge is we see that this inmate's number is on this paper. That's all they choose to acknowledge. Anything beyond that, with regards to a treatment plan or anything, something else has to happen for them to get that attention, for them to run down the walkway with an emergency attitude. This person has to not move during count time, and it shouldn't come to that. If she can't move during count time, that means she's not getting enough oxygen to her brain. She can't roll over. Her bunkie is afraid to touch her because if she do, that's a homicide. No matter what y'all say, it's a homicide until it's done. So they have to listen to those cries. People got to pay attention. I'm paying for it right now.
You know, interestingly enough, just to see the parallels in this fight, and I remember, you know, just watching Darwin battle for everything. I mean, shoes. They were supposed to give him the proper shoes. They wouldn't give him the proper shoes. It was a battle about that.
Even though I have the paperwork for it, the medical approval.
Exactly.
They said they didn't make the shoes. How? And I got the old pair on my foot. But you don't make it, but this is it right here. This is the old pair right here. These are the only pair of shoes that I could transfer in. I can't put anything else on my feet, but you don't make them. Because I wrote a grievance. And then you try to penalize me for saying that I didn't exhaust all 3 steps of the grievance. When you acknowledge that step 1, that y'all made a mistake, and that if they did it again, to notify them. So why else do I need to go to 2 and 3 unless the error occurs again? Then it becomes cumulative. Then it's the cries falling on deaf ears, and it's the paperwork getting shuffled again. And
in the wheelchair.
Yeah, I was in a wheelchair for a whole year before I came home. But they still made me walk up 3 flights of stairs to my cell, but had the nerve to give me a bottom bunk detail. But then gave me a cane and told me if they ever catch me without my cane that they would write me up. But yet they didn't employ anybody to push me to the chow hall or bring me my trays or nothing. Like, see, it's confusing to the general population because it's so unfathomable. It's so hard to believe. You would see it and you wouldn't believe it. You didn't believe what guys do just to take, when COVID hit, the way we had to. I had pneumonia in my right lung, and my A1C went to 16. They put me on emergency insulin that day. And they said, Mr. Page, it's all up to you. We didn't know. You got to either live or die. They literally told me that. I went from 257 pounds to 219 pounds in like 38 days, Trisha. Yeah, it's something like that. And I had to put a cotton swab in my mouth with water on it and just suck on it, hoping I don't choke. And all they come around is just trying to stick us with extra stuff, talking about it's a vaccine. When you try to call your family about it, your phone go dead, your JPay get messed up, everything gets so backed up all of a sudden that it's mysteriously malfunctioning. It's real. It's not a myth. It's not somebody making up something. I'm dumbing it down. In all honesty, I'm dumbing it down. Because my judge need to hear some of this first.
Marcus, go ahead. I saw you wanted to say something.
You know, if you look at all across the United States, but I'm gonna just keep it here in Michigan, it's all the same story, right? All of us can relate to anyone who's been incarcerated can relate to that story. And that is because, again, they hide what they do. They avoid transparency with policy. And when the Prison Litigation Reform Act came into effect, it made it hard to even get complaints out of prison. So they created the grievance procedure, the different steps, like he just mentioned, and which was a tool for them to be able to block you from getting what you're saying out. So you can have somebody suffering for 13 years or for 30 years or so and so, and nothing happens because, first of all, they don't even see you as human. They just see you as an inmate, and an inmate being another word for slave. So, and I'm sorry that happened to you, brother. I'm listening to you, and it's hitting me hard because I'm listening to you talking about even with the copay. If you get sick and you're really sick, and you go over there and they tell you to drink some water and send you back, they take $5 from you. Somebody else out here that might look at $5 as nothing, but somebody in prison, they only get $22 a month to determine if he's gonna make a phone call to his family or buy a bar of today. That $5 is a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? That $5 look like you paying $400 and $500 for a copay out here. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's just the, you know, it's the way the system is set up. It wasn't designed to restore anybody. And if you do make a complaint, they use your brethren to you know what I'm saying, to try to silence you. You know what I'm saying? People, they create a narrative, we get an offer, a guard, a warden, offer somebody an extra piece of chicken to go out and say, hey, Marcus is crazy. You know, I got called crazy times, and I had inmates laughing like, why is you know what I'm saying, why are you filing complaints? They even went on the PA system. They shut the whole yard down and said, went on the PA system, said my full name, inmate number, and cell number, and said, we're going to keep wreaking havoc on this compound unless Marcus Kelly stop filing complaints. So, you know what I'm saying? So they do that, and they exploit poverty to continue to stay in power. And, you know what I'm saying? And the sad part, the disgusting part of that is you have people dying. And if the brother didn't make it out, we don't know what would have happened. You could have lost a foot. You could have lost
I would have lost both of my feet. They just now telling me that I'm just now barely in the safe zone. And the surgeon, oh my God, you getting it. Go ahead.
It was even crazier. The last time when I was in there, it was a guy who had to get his leg. He had to get his leg amputated. He had to get his right leg amputated. They took that man to the hospital and amputated his left leg. They amputated the wrong leg, and then had to take him back to cut the other one off. So he didn't have any legs. You know what I mean? And what people don't see out here is just like what you mentioned about poking you with medicine. They experiment on you to see what works on you, what doesn't work, and that's the medical field doing that. We're gonna find out what works on this guy. Can he survive this? and saying, you know what I mean, and then and if it works, then they bring it out to the population out here in the world. But if not, I mean, you just gonna suffer because you're just a guinea pig. You know what I'm saying? And now they got to the point where now some people sign, they give them $25, Brother Darwin, to sign up for placebos
and clinical trials and stuff like
clinical
that.
trials, what they call it. And people sign up to get that $25 because they poor. And then you have the people who didn't sign up for it, but they give it to you anyway. When anytime a pneumonia come around or whatever that's out here in the world, they come in there and they experiment on us to see what works. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm bringing it back down and landing my plane with Krystal's case. They knew that they knew what she had years ago, and they just they was trying different medications on her just to see how it happened. Not giving a SHIT about what it's going to do to her kidneys and her liver. You know what I'm saying? But having all these different medications that they knew was not going to work. You know what I'm saying? They knew it wasn't going to work, but they also didn't want, you know what I'm saying, nobody out here to protest and let it leak out. So they stop it at the head with Keith Barber and different policies and practices and procedures to make sure it doesn't get out. So let's just call her crazy so people can laugh at her and say F it. And if she died, we just burn the body up and won't nobody find out anyway.
If she died, they can say that they followed the alternative treatment plan. That's what they call it. That's how they justify using all those other medications and combinations of cocktails and medications. They call them ATPs, alternative treatment plans. That's the technical term that covers them.
Yeah, and they they fall back on the stale versus gamble by saying if I went to healthcare and if we gave them a Band-Aid, then we gave them care.
You gave them care. See, and the thing about it is, what people need to understand is that although you're as an inmate not entitled to perfect medical care, you are entitled to adequate medical care.
That part.
And we talked about, this is where cruel and unusual punishment becomes cruel or unusual punishment. And that changes the trajectory in the court. The language, the key is right there in the language. And that's where I think we're going to ruffle some feathers about her case. Because that's not just cruel and unusual punishment. That's cruel, that's unusual by itself. So that's a whole different.
And again,
yeah.
And that's why I always highlight Jensen versus Sheehan case, because in that case, the judge said that the people in prison have to rely on the officials there for care, because if not, then their sentence turns into a death sentence.
Yeah, caregivers.
Yeah, they have a duty of care. And if they don't care for us in there, then our sentences now become a death sentence. And
so if you follow the constitutional amendments or lack thereof and everything, it's all slavery. Them caregivers turn into masters. It's the same precedent. It's the whole thing. Yeah. That's why the Constitution hasn't been changed properly to reflect all these necessary changes. Yeah. How can we prepare for something, for change, when we're not implementing the system to replace one that's in place already? We're just talking about all the stuff around it, what's wrong with it, but how do we replace all of those components that's wrong?
Easy.
That's where we gotta.
You gotta pull it up by the root.
Yeah.
Anything outside
there
of
go.
Poisonous tree.
You gotta raise hell. You gotta tear it. Yeah.
You can't be silent and quiet. That's for sure. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people lack. A lot of people don't have family members to stand up on their behalf, and like y'all said, this is this whole narrative that everybody's crazy. Everybody's crazy, but they're saying the same thing, and then you have alternative. I think about so many different ways that you try to get out. I even think about how the parole board, we got to talk about this. The parole board just kept flopping them, right? Kept flopping them. So we had some people writing, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, give this brother a chance. I mean, my landlord was writing, like different people just writing.
Hundreds of people.
They gonna write me back and say that he is a menace to society, and they do not believe that he would do right when he get out. I'm paraphrasing on that, right? Mm-hmm. But he gets administered a test. Now this is an MDOC test. that they use to gauge whether you're going to reoffend. What was
Oh
it?
yeah, I remember that.
0.00006 or something like that.
Yeah.
So your own test said that the probability of this person committing a crime again was almost 0 to none, and they still flopped him. And I look at Krystal, still let her, wouldn't let her out on a compassionate release. There's so many things that MDOC could do to do what's right, but doing what's right is not their focus. You don't do what's right for a slave. You're a slave. And that's exactly what they don't see us as, they don't see folks as human, man.
So if we're gonna really call a spade, right? And if they're gonna really try to this institutional slavery way of thinking, let's call them on their BS. Okay, when your horse is sick and it's dying, what you do? What you do to a horse or a dog? You take them out to the pasture and you put them down. You send them home.
Yeah.
Send that girl to where she can get some help. If she's that much of a menace to society, or if y'all did this, everything y'all could to protect her well-being, then give her over to somebody who, you remember when Malcolm X marched down in front of the hospital? Said, we ain't going nowhere till Brother Jenkins all right.
Right.
People too scared for that.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, it's just so much coming up to me right now.
But what I'm saying is, it's a way to do this politically. It's a way to do this legally. To go into the court and make these same commandments and demands. Is the law sets forth. It's all about procedure. We look at what a law says. You look at a court rule and you think that's it. I suggest y'all take another look, man, because that woman is supposed to be with her family right now, recuperating.
I mean, legally, we have her pathways with an injunction relief, a serious medical need, injunction relief, and that's what we've been drafting up and talking about recently. Now, are
y'all trying to get her to hospice or outside of the Michigan Department of Corrections?
Outside of Michigan, because she can't get any help in Michigan Department of Corrections, so it's outside of that. You know what I'm saying? A true medical release. But I wanted to piggyback on something you mentioned before. When I look at someone that's 16 years old and they look at this person and say that this person, especially when it comes to Black people, that they look at this person and says that this person will reoffend and they're not worthy of a second chance. And here is a young man, and at the time a little child, at 16 years old, and you slap him in prison. But if a parent whooped this child so that he doesn't, get into no trouble, then it's child abuse. But we don't recognize it as child abuse when the state abuses them. You know what I'm saying? If a state is able to throw you away and send you to prison, it's child abuse in all actuality, but it's not child abuse when they do it. So I'm like, I would rather. So if I tell a judge, I remember telling a judge something. It was years ago. My daughter, my child's mother had whooped my daughter at the courthouse, and they're gonna lock her up. And I'm like, so yeah, they're gonna lock her up. My daughter was acting out. She was like, man, she had to be like 4 or something like that. And she was acting out. My daughter, spanked my child's mother spanked her on the butt. They was about to lock her up, and I told them, saying like, wait a minute, y'all, this is. I would rather my woman whoop my child so my child don't come here and y'all whoop them. Because if y'all whoop my baby, she ain't getting out. At least I know she coming out. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, so I think about those things. We think about it today, especially where the world is going now, and it's like, that's something that we need to. Because if you look at the courts now, they are actually recognizing that people's brains don't really function. Doesn't really stop growing or whatever until they like 21 to 24.
26.
So 26. Yeah. I know it was something like
culpability.
So if you recognize that now, but yet you still and these are all studies. These are all studies. and yet you'll put a child in front of a courthouse and the judge is still sending them to life in prison, like what they was trying to do with Nathaniel Abraham when he was 11 years old, and they came and got him out of Madison Junior High School with Halloween paint on his face, telling him he's going to do life in prison. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. You know what I mean? What are we doing? You know, this can't be about public health and safety at this point. Because number one, you know what I'm saying? If the police's job, even though they have the biggest budget, and MDOC has the biggest budget, if the job is to stop crime, it's not. You're not going to stop it. You know what I'm saying? You are going to, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't arrest nobody until after they snatch the purse. So you know what I'm saying? So let's just be. So you spending more. We spend 75% of our budget to be reactive, and then when somebody get in prison, you market this big lie that we are rehabilitating people, but yet they hadn't had the tools to be. They never. A lot of us wasn't rehabilitated before we even went to prison. You can't say somebody at 16 rehabilitated. He's 16, so he didn't have the tools yet. He ain't even graduated. So how are you rehabilitating this man? And then when you get in there, then you treat him like an animal. You know what I'm saying? So this is child. Now, mind you, we are looking at a 16-year-old child growing up in a space where he's not seen, he's not heard. You know what I'm saying? And he has these serious medical needs. You know what I'm saying? That's not being met. And then you expect mentally for somebody to actually walk out and you just tell them to pick themselves up by the bootstraps. It's gonna be all right.
With no support, no nothing. And you know what's amazing? That throughout my entire 31 and a half years incarceration, the only time I saw somebody for a psych evaluation was when the parole board finally decided to see me before the court reversed my sentence.
That's sad. And look, Trishay, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell y'all something on the call that's gonna you just to piggyback on what you just said. It's a brother named Christopher Green. Well, it's actually Howard Green. Now we figured it out. But Howard Green got out of prison. He did 31 years. All his family passed away. He don't have no family. So the brother, they put him in the Salvation Army. And I remember going to see him, and the brother was crying and saying, "Send me back to prison." So I'm like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I took him back to his parole officer. I'm like, man, we can't have this guy in that space. He begging to go back to prison. He's going to harm himself or harm somebody else. This man is suffering from not just post-incarceration syndrome, but he has an underlying issue that has not been met yet. Did y'all do a psychological evaluation on him? They never even did a psychological evaluation on this.
See how depressed he really was.
Yeah, right. So, and then, you know what I'm saying? So these are, because now they shut down a lot of mental health facilities and it just started sending people to prison. So 95% of people that go to prison already suffer from PTSD or whatever else it might be. 40% of that 95 suffer from post-incarceration syndrome when we get out. This data tell us this. But and moving and bagging up a little bit, we dealing with Brother Darwin Page, we dealing with Miss Krystal Clark right now. We dealing with people who have suffered for a decade. You know what I'm saying? And Brother Darwin, 3 decades. And this young lady, a decade and a half almost in suffrage. And if that's not what slavery, and if that's not what slavery is, then I don't know what it looks like. But we are not a people. We can't have people believing that you are doing all this help in the community until you open the curtains up and see the suffrage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We didn't. I mean, I don't think the judge realized they sentenced you to death.
Yeah.
By a million paper cuts.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I think too that I'm so sorry about all that has happened to you. And my heart goes out to you and to all the others that haven't had a voice. The one thing that really troubles me is the definition of adequate. Is that it's not laid out to what is adequate medical services to people who are incarcerated. What does it mean to be adequate? Do they have that as a definition? Is it defined?
That's they use that that's what they use. It's very defined, but they use it as an excuse. See, the thing about it is when you just meet that bar, okay, you come in and you break your toe or something. Okay, the thing I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to make sure that there's no compound fracture. I'm supposed to make sure there's no circulatory issues. Okay, he can walk, he can stand on his own, he ain't bleeding through his bone, wrap him up, send him on back. That's their adequate. When we know that it requires follow-up, make sure that bone is set right, and just make sure that he's restricted as far as what he can and can't do. They don't go that far. How when the food
Or are they?
it's
Do they kind of make it up as they go? So there's no
no,
written. I'm just asking.
it's
Is
at
there?
their discretion. It's a broad discretion. It's a discretion that's so broad.
And it's not. There's no oversight.
No,
There's no oversight.
just a department operating manual, and you got a departments. You got the one from the facility, and then you got the operating facility, and those, long as they cover within them lines, they can do whatever they want to do.
And yeah, that's what I want to express to our listeners today is that there's no oversight for the definition of adequate.
No.
So they're just making it up as they go. They just do whatever they feel to do or not do.
Yes.
I just want to chime in on that part. They actually do. If you read Estelle versus Gamble, the court ruling, if you read Jensen versus Shin's court ruling, they actually have it laid out what healthcare for somebody incarcerated is supposed to be. The problem is the Department of Corrections, without oversight, bring in people who buys into it. Like I forgot the name of the healthcare company they have now. They dissolve themselves and turn themselves into another name, but it's still the same people.
Exactly.
And they use their own operating manuals based off of that policy.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? PD0. PD.0.03.
Yeah.
130 something like that. But
listen at y'all. I know that's right.
So when you look at theirs, they even align up with it as well. However, they give you the bare minimum, and in some cases where people sued and you found a judge that wanted to side with the Department of Corrections, then a ruling to come out and say as long as they provided a Band-Aid, then they gave you some care, and they've been utilized to intentionally and to provide what they call a deliberate indifference to the serious medical need. And so they paint it with a broad paintbrush and use a one size fits all for every person. So somebody with a serious medical need like Brother Darwin Page or like Sister Krystal Clark, which will have serious medical needs, if I gave you some kind of medication, I've treated you, and now I can duck liability. However, if you can prove that they actually intentionally violated those particular rules and laws, like they did in Brother Darwin's case, and like it just came out in the courtroom or on the court documents with Krystal Clark's case, now is two things happening. Now you violated the 8th Amendment, the 1st Amendment, and the 14th United States Constitution. You violated Estelle versus Gamble, and with that case is two things: the causation has happened that caused her to continue to suffer and caused her to get worse, and then number two, now you which is suit, a civil rights complaint. But also, if you go back to the Krystal Clark case, we just want to help everybody in Michigan right now. You know what I'm saying? Because I want everybody to listen to this. When now what they pointed out is not only deliberate indifference to a serious medical need, but also a cover-up. We're talking about a RICO kind of situation here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We talking about stealing the state, you know what I'm saying, covering up what they are actually doing, killing people that's actually in there, knowing they're dying, but covering it up. That is a RICO. So those are criminal charges at this point. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, blessed be to God that Krystal can survive and make it out of there. You know what I'm saying? But her case is going to blow the whole doors off of Michigan right now.
It will.
Yeah.
Yes, it will.
that's
I
that
just
you talk about a watershed. It's gonna be a watershed, all
It's gonna
right.
be a
It's
watershed, all right. It's really a great reckoning, is what it is. There's no
yeah.
way.
What
I think
expense?
about I went into this meeting one time and I walked up to the mic and I just started singing, Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. That's what this is. There's too many cases of neglect and medical neglect. I'm happy right now. One of another good friend of mine that Matt, can I just say we got to fight for everything we get? Can I just say that? I watched this brother, Lucky, battle and battle and battle the Michigan Department of Corrections. And I won't tell his story, but when I tell you the way that he was done medically, the let's hear from you, Mr. Lawson, Lucky.
Sorry about that. My phone, I've been still trying to help the prison. My phone rings so much to be the prison. That's why I had to mute the background. You also got to excuse me because my voice. I had surgery in prison. Well, to start it off, I noticed that y'all talking about how prison medical, they saying that it's good and it's super horrible. I'm one to stand on that. I recently been exonerated 4/29/25 back in COVID started in 20, so let's say in 21, they made me take the COVID shot in order to transfer me from one facility to another facility. The shot did something to my hormones, which triggered a hyperthyroid. They gave me a surgery. They took out the wrong thing. Well, they gave me a surgery. It was supposed to take out one thing. They took it out. My numbers didn't drop. So that guess gave them the right to take out another one until the numbers balanced normal. Well, they took out something else, but it wasn't the right thing. They sold me back up, pushed me back to the prison, didn't wait for me to use the bathroom after the anesthesia or nothing. For 5 years, 5 or 6 years, I've been walking around with my number. Let's say my number supposed to be 9. I've been walking around with my number at 700. The doctors, now that I'm outside, is saying that they don't know how I was able to walk around like that. That even in prison, when they did finally take me back and forth to the hospital, they were saying that they couldn't believe my bones wasn't breaking, and that that was their main concern, was anything breaking. They wasn't taking labs, they wasn't taking blood. The prison was saying that they don't know anything about the hyperthyroid issue that I had, so they wasn't doing anything. One day they put me in the van and rushed me to the hospital because my blood count was super high. Uh, it's just terrible. It ain't. The doctor finally admitted to malpractice in there when they was trying to get me to have the surgery again. They was trying to tell me that I had to do it, that I was dying. And by the grace of God, the day of the surgery is the same day that I got exonerated. They woke me up, took me to court, and let me
Hmm,
go.
hmm, hmm.
So now the doctors are saying it's so much other stuff wrong with me by them letting the procedure, by not correcting the stuff that they did, like my bones deteriorating, and it's a few other things I just don't even really want to talk about because it throw me off. One of the things is you can hear my voice. That's probably got a little bit to do with me because I don't know how to be quiet. They saying be quiet and it should get better, but it's too much stuff to talk about and to tell. Try to bring recognition to the stuff that's going on in there. Just not the way they saying it is.
Yes, but they'll get on these platforms and they'll go in front of the House reps and say, hey, we have excellent health care. And I know for a fact, even when my son was in there, he went in with a medical record. He left with he went inside with a medical record. And the first thing they said, oh, we lost his medical records. How can you lose somebody's medical record?
Got this died again. I talk to the prisoners. I'll be trying to help still get people out and all that stuff because I know when I was in. And there's a lot of people that's in there that's innocent. They got issues that they can't take the time to discuss either one because of their health care. But it was a guy
Right.
just passed. A guy just passed. They misdiagnosed his diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
And they was telling him to do and take stuff that was the opposite of what he should have been doing. And he died and he was young. He was only 34 years old.
Mm.
And he just died. So I don't know how long before they get to the news. It should be any day now. But they doing a lot of crazy stuff in there. And I don't think that the public understand enough. They just listen to these politicians get on here and try and get votes. And this shit bigger than that. And then even the ones that do the politician, that say they're gonna do certain stuff, they get the votes, and then when they get in there, they still don't do anything. So I think that's the stuff that we should be bringing to the light. Now I know it's a lot of arguments that we can make, and we got a lot of family members, including myself, that then got wrongful stuff done in there. But we 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 talking to we talking to each other and telling each other our problems. We need to try to not to take nothing from nobody, because again, it's my first day, and I'm a little fed up with the stuff that's going on with me, so I can't imagine, because I haven't got a chance to hear everybody's situation. But just the stuff that's going on with me, I feel that we need to get this to somebody to where, you know what I mean? Like, it need to be, our base need to get bigger in some kind of way. We all got certain leads and touches that we can touch people. We need to, I don't know what to do. Maybe I'm talking out of turn, but
Nah,
it's
you
just
ain't, bro.
it's just crazy
That's
that
Oh,
how it
they
start.
getting away with it and we
Yeah.
ain't. Oprah done took lesser cases.
Yeah.
Why we can't catch up with Oprah and let's get Oprah to talk about it? Because then
Yeah.
they listen. You got this Nancy Gray bitch. She talk about a lot of stuff. Why
Yeah.
we can't catch up with none of these people?
Yeah.
I agree.
They still
All these
telling
big
me,
black celebrities that be on LinkedIn talking about they care about the community and about the culture and about what's happening to the people, but then they ain't doing nothing either. You're right. Need to hold everybody accountable.
yeah, man,
Right.
we got again. I ain't taking nothing from nobody, but I haven't started making a lot of noise myself yet because I can't really talk, and I don't know exactly what noise I can make. But now it's getting to the point that it ain't even about what they gonna stop and all that stuff no more. It's time to tell everybody because it's getting worse. The doctors told me some stuff yesterday that like, boy, like my numbers going back up, and they don't know why. So no, my life's still at a little risk from some stuff that they saying that they not even going, they don't want to pay. Y'all crazy as hell.
Jay, you
I,
seen
Darwin.
that video? Oh. Mm.
Darwin, could you explain these pictures?
Oh well, that picture there is after 21 and a half years of complaining about my toes hurting and them misdiagnosing me saying I had plantar fasciitis. They sent me to a surgeon in Jackson who said, "Oh man, your feet are horrible. I should have did surgery on you 10, 15 years ago." And he cut my toe up and drilled 3 holes and rerouted my tendon, put 1, 2, 3, 4 screws and some staples and some stuff that came through my skin and infected me 5 times. And I've had about 4 surgeries since then to repair that, and I lost my big toe. So yeah, that was the first X-ray result.
This is what you was talking about happened to you.
Ah, yeah, that was after when they took the bone from my hip and put it in my toe. Yeah, yeah. After they said that he did a perfect surgery and the toe was perfectly lined up and there was no issues. Yeah,
And
yeah,
this
that's it.
is
Yeah, that's it. Now after they done cut the toe off in the middle, you see all the toe missing and it's a piece of broken screw still in there, but that little slither of bone across the top is the hip bone. That's the only bone there.
so they took
Yeah, took the
a
bone
bone
from
for
there.
your hip.
24 milliliters, I believe. Yep.
And put it in your.
and put it right there. And that's just my right big toe. Oh, and that's the heels. That's where they said I had plantar fasciitis, and I had to adjust my walk. But at that point, the calluses were splitting from the inside out, so they got to go cut them out of both of my heels and do a bone graft. I mean, a skin graft,
Mm, mm, mm.
just so I can walk halfway normal.
Wow.
And I was just after 4 surgeries on one toe.
I think we got to understand the common denominator here. Because y'all was at different prisons. All right. We got Women's Huron Valley. I think you was what, Chippewa, Darwin?
I've been everywhere. Chippewa. I've been up north or across Ionia. 2 trips through Ionia and MR.
Look,
Lapeer.
you know where you look. I forgot where you was at, but these is all different
My
prisons.
surgery was done in Kinross, up
Oh
north.
yeah.
And now that I'm down here, or now that I'm out in the real world, they won't even release, even with lawyer pressing the issue, they still won't even release my health
Medical
records.
records.
They won't tell them the surgeon said he wanted to know what or the area that they took the stuff out that wasn't the right stuff. And I could get one doctor that didn't do the surgery, that was finna do the new surgery, to admit that they took out the wrong thing because what they said they took out needs to be out, and it turned from uh 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 casual, not a casual,
Cosmetic.
with the little seed, sunflower seed, they saying is now turned into a small millet.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
You know
So they
what?
got that out,
Cosmetic
and my
became
numbers went
emergency.
from, ain't no doubt.
And you know what? This is known because even when my son came home and I took him to the doctor so he can start back getting the right medication because they would not give him the medication that he needed. They found the cheapest version of the medicine they can find. They gave him so many other side effects that he had to take other medicines to counteract the side effects of the medicine instead of giving him the exact medicine that he was on. So when I took him to the doctor, and the first thing that doctor said was, "I don't want to see no records from MDOC because all of them are lies." We just started all over. He just started doing labs and tests, and from the beginning, he didn't want to see anything. And I made sure, like before he came home, to get all his medical records because I wanted proof of what they were doing to him. And that doctor was like, "I don't even need to see him. I already know what they do."
That's what most of
So
the surgeons say out here. Like I'm down here in Kentucky, in Louisville, and I came home. I had 5 infections, like back to back, with my foot because of the hardware coming through the skin and stuff, and not being positioned right. And all the thing that they could do, being I didn't have insurance, was see me in the emergency room, give me a prescription, and that's it. No treatment. So I had to wait until my healthcare got switched. Months and months and months and months later, when I finally was able to get in and have surgery, and they were like, when I said I was incarcerated, they were like, just run a test.
one of our viewers on Instagram wants to know, Darwin. She said, "I'm sorry I missed whether or not the original injury. Did the original injury come from prison or outside of prison?"
No, it happened while I was in prison. Yes. And I remember the doctor's name. His name was Dr. Khan. He was an Indian doctor at Thumb Correctional Facility in Lapeer. He cracked a joke and he wrapped me up with an ace bandage from the top of my toe back up my ankle, and he gave me a ibuprofen and said, "Quit smoking. I'll call you in the morning." And I never heard anything else about it from him.
Wow.
And what about this organized, when you look at who is organizing and who is over the medical, what about this Bureau of Healthcare Services. They're supposed to be tasked with coordinating and monitoring healthcare delivery to people who are incarcerated. And they have a chief medical officer, a chief psychiatric officer, mental health services regional health administrator, and they're also partnership with Wayne State University. This is supposed to be for all of MDOC. You would think, I mean, and I look at who's getting paid. I want people to really understand that at that level, you have a lot of people who are making a lot of money and no one's healing. What
And that's
about this
because
bureau? I mean, what do they give a report? Do they report out on MDOC? Do they go out to each facility and see medically
No,
what is happening? I mean, because the hospitals get a record, you know.
no, they don't. Reverend Tia, I'm go right to you, Marcus. For the benefit of the show, I was watching different videos from the oversight committee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for different things per MDOC, healthcare, all kinds of stuff. There is nothing consistent about anything they do. There's no consistent kind of oversight. There's no consistency when it comes to doing records. There's no consistency when it comes to, follow through or following back up. There's just no consistency, right? And so when you have these, like you said, the chief medical officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we were seeking information about Krystal, and he was going to the chief medical officer, only thing that person was doing was reading off of whatever they said at the facility. They didn't go in and see the patient. They don't go in those facilities. They just read what is on a piece of paper. So there is nobody accountable because they're not doing anything to be held accountable for. They're not, keeping no information. You know why? Because that will hold them accountable. If there's a paper trail or there's some stuff that they are supposed to do on a regular basis to keep up with this information, they'll be held accountable. But because nobody has forced them to do anything, and I'm listening to this stuff all day today, there's nobody, even the legislators are asking them questions and every time they ask them, one of the questions was how many overdoses that result in death. Well, we don't know, but we can get that back to you. Everything they ask them, we don't know, but we can get right back to you. What is the point of having these hearings if they don't ever come equipped with any information, only the information that they want you to know or want, from them? Then that's the information they bring it. But anything that you might ask them for, they don't have a clue.
And it's surprising how many legislators, how many civic leaders really don't have a voice for people who are incarcerated. You can probably count it on one hand. I mean, they may say it in there when it's time to get voted on, but who has really taken action?
And I think we're not in those hearings. That's what the real issue is. We're not in those hearings. They can get in those hearings. I found some hearings and I sent it to Jay. I don't know if we're going to play it tonight, but I found a hearing where he had the nerve to say that MDOC, not even adequate. He said MDOC had excellent health care. Now I'm looking at two people right now that I know that didn't get excellent health care, and we're looking at Krystal's case, no excellent health care. Also, let me point this out, the chief medical officer, and this goes back to what Marcus said about RICO charges, because at this point, what they're doing is a crime, y'all. It's a crime, because they, first of all, medical neglect by a doctor, intentional medical neglect, that person can be brought up on charges. That person can be convicted. I've seen it happen before, right? Also, too, if I was working at a group home, I did that work for many, many years. And if I was working at a group home, I administered the wrong medication. I did not change. I rendered any neglect in that home. Guess what? I would be in court on my way to prison because medical neglect. They're not being held accountable. The chief medical officer, and see this, the chief medical officer really is going to really get in trouble if they can get in trouble, because this person literally lied in their paperwork, and said that in May of this year that they gave Krystal a fungal test and that no mold was present. But in 2017 it was present. In 2021 it was present. In 2023 it was present. And in June of 2025 it was present. Now where the hell did it go in May? 2 weeks before the test in June. Where did it go? Because it don't go away. So they're lying and they're lying and they're lying. And what happens is, and I tell people all this time, because we got people that say, oh, protesting is so stupid, and oh, you're standing outside of buildings and screaming and yelling. Let me tell you something. At some point, all you have is your story. At some point, all you have is your story to share in hopes that you can link up with other people and fight this fight. That's going to be the only way that change can come. But we got to get to those hearings. I look at Donovan McKinney. Donovan McKinney told us, there's nothing that we can do. Oh my God. What did he say? That they are, MDOC budget is the only budget.
Yeah.
Unrestricted. And we learned from Mr. O'Neill, it is a 2-point-something billion budget. That guess who money it is? That's our money. That is no oversight at all over it. So when I say we need to get into these hearings, that's where we need to get in. We should have been in that hearing where he said there was excellent health care. Then we could have put Luck up. We could have put Darwin up. We could have put Krystal up. They have to hear these things. And you don't have to wait for them to call you into this stuff. There is something called public comment at these meetings. We can be going to these meetings, doing the public comment, bringing these information in so that it can be put on to the record to show the lies. We got to stop. Oh, I want to build a relationship. You can't build no relationship. Ain't no relationship when it comes to justice.
That's right.
I tell people that all the time. I'll build any relationship.
That's right.
When justice is on the line, I'm picking justice flat out. And so everybody else has got to do the same thing. Stop playing games with people's lives. I look at, and I'm gonna be quiet after this. And Marcus, you were so graceful, like, oh, people are so busy. Bullshit.
Right.
Because what? Those returning citizens groups, they know beyond a shadow of a doubt what it is like. So I implore them all to go back to that zeal of when you were sitting in there. Because when you were sitting there, you knew that you wanted somebody out here fighting for you. Now you out and you should be doing the same. Stop playing games, because guess what? MDOC in the state will take your funding anyways. You ain't even got to be doing nothing wrong to get your funding snatched. Stop putting people's lives on the line for money, man. It's not about money. It's about saving people's lives.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I want to play this video, you guys.
Okay.
But the determination is made by the local county prosecutor.
Thank you.
Minority Vice Chair Miller.
Thank you, Kyle, for being here. Going back to your point on the women's Huron correctional facilities, it was mentioned that the last audit was done in 2017, I believe. Have you been getting complaints, because I know I have, and I'm sure other state reps have, on the deplorable conditions, horrible conditions of that facility? I'm talking about mold. I'm talking about prison care. I've seen pictures of women prisoners who have mold growing out of their ears. It's reported. It's in the vents. And how are you handling that mold? Is it being removed properly and not just being painted over? That's one part question. And then I know you, on page 29 of this report, it says the House and Senate passed legislation in December of 2024 to allow correction officers, among others, to join the Michigan State Police retirement system. You had mentioned that there was a recent class of over 281 students who went through the training. Is there any, with this legislation that was, that passed the House and the Senate, is there any correlation with how many, with the amount of candidates that went through the program? 281 from what it was before, that's a large jump. So how do you, if you can explain that, but first and foremost, I want to hear more on the Huron Valley facility.
So there is litigation related to this, so I have to be somewhat careful in my comments. But I would say that the department strenuously disagrees with the assertion that the facility has any kind of physical plant issues. It is a well-run facility. It is a modern facility. I would invite any of you to come visit the facility. I'm happy to arrange that for you. And you can go anywhere you would like within the facility to see those areas. But our facilities are well-run, well-maintained, and I think that some of the public assertions we've seen are really not backed up by the evidence about that facility.
I had to stop that because everything that fell out of his mouth was a lie.
All of it.
I had to stop it because we read the complaint. The mold is eating through the staircases, that the staircases has shifted. I have talked to Krystal and somebody else inside of Huron Valley that said that the child hall, they can't even eat in there anymore because the whole hall has sinking into the ground. So you talking about their wear care for, they got mold that's eating through the metal of the doors. Come on, what is you talking about? But see what I'm saying? But when we're not in these rooms, all these legislators is hearing is the blah, 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 blah that's coming out of their mouths. That's a lie. Hold on, you guys. I want to play this right quick.
And I've heard on firsthand accounts, seen pictures of what's going on in some of these facilities, in particular, the Women's Huron Valley facility in Ypsilanti with the woman named Krystal Clark, and how she is literally dealing with being poisoned by mold. And it is very disheartening to see the lack of care some of our members are receiving while being in our facilities. And I want you to talk about what are things are being done, because to me, I don't think our tax dollars should go to ensuring the care and protection of some of our members of our society. This is, I think it's a lot of atrocities happening, to say the least, and I just want you.
Go, Reverend Tia, what was that you put in the text thread?
Well, I was putting some of the cases because see what I find is that with MDOC, they only become more accountable with pressure and with death. It doesn't have to, it's all horrific, but it's like you have to force them to take accountability. And then our tax dollars are paying for their incompetence. So there was an ACLU lawsuit of neglect under constitutional violations, but that was back in 2006. And that was due to a mentally ill prisoner who died of dehydration after being chained naked to a concrete slab for 4 days. It was 6 days?
No, he was in a level 6 prison, and I only when they
level 6, okay.
Okay,
and then they said that he was tortured, the amount of torture. This is what gets me. Okay. It's a federal judge found the MDOC's level of medical indifference, not incompetence. They called it indifference. And I need people to understand the language that is being permeated to the people, because it takes away the seriousness of what is actually happening. So they said medical indifference amounted to, listen to these words, listen to these bogus A words. The amount of torture the indifference amounted to torture under the 8th Amendment. And that was ACLU of Michigan. Then they said, although oversight ended, listen, in 2015, when a judge ruled improvements had been made, the case highlighted systemic failures in medical and mental health care in Michigan prisons. You have Jonathan Lancaster, a mentally ill prisoner at Alger Correctional Facility, died of dehydration, losing over 50 pounds in 2 weeks while being restrained in an observation cell. They watched him die. They will sit up there and watch people suffer. They will sit and watch people be tortured. They will sit and watch them die. Manslaughter charges against multiple nurses and prison officials were dismissed due to insufficient evidence that their actions directly caused the death. Come on, y'all.
But the Lancaster family received $2.6 million in the settlement.
The family did.
Yeah, and
The
legal
Lancaster family, $2.6 million, and really, what is that?
That ain't nothing. Ain't worth a life.
It's not worth a life.
Yeah, but to answer your question from earlier, you had asked where's the oversight? Is because if there's anybody that the Department of Corrections hire, they're going to repair. They're going to protect the interests of the Department of Corrections.
Yeah,
they're not going to, and so they're not going to give you any information that's damning to them. That goes all the way from the ombudsman all the way on down. So they're not going to do anything.
The same vetting process that you would do your constituent. The same vetting process. You're going to vet somebody who's got your best interest at stake.
Yeah. I mean, so, and I think that's the problem. This is the problem. I think this is the problem with activism sometimes, is that the person, if they are into their own self-interest, they don't see the suffering of somebody else.
Right.
You know, they don't see, if they're just working in their own self-interest and what they're doing with the information that they're doing. We could be wanting the same thing, but they may want it on a different level for this, and somebody else may want it for the health of the individual and really be down for the individual. Well, that's how people get in the way of justice, because they're so busy focused on their own self-interest. They don't see the broader, they don't see that many people are suffering. I mean, those who are incarcerated, people who are incarcerated are suffering. The staff are suffering too. The guards are too. But if they're only looking at money, how am I going to get mine? How am I going to get mine? Then justice won't be served until all come together and just say and tear this whole system down.
I think what Donovan McKinney was doing is they brought it up on the floor. But one thing that we have to really see also is we actually need to be in them rooms, because we can, and I feel you, Trishay. I think a lot of these back and forth ping pong games is a motherfucker when you're dealing with the humanity of anybody. Because I know if I'm sick, if my child was sick, I'm gonna get up and take him to the hospital. If I'm sick, I'm gonna go to the hospital, and that's just it. We don't have those luxuries in prison. So, but when they're on the floor having those conversations, it baffles me that why wouldn't they even call Trishay or Jay or me or Darwin or Lucky and say, hey, I need you on the floor to tell your story. Because you know what I'm saying, it's one thing to talk about what somebody needs, but again, if you haven't worn my shoes, you can't tell me how to lace them. So it puts a little bit more humanity in it when you call the person who was directly impacted by those situations to actually come up and testify in that moment. Because they can say, hey, I went over there, I heard these, I got these calls, and somebody can say, well, I don't know, said this, I didn't see it. We got great healthcare facilities, we have great facilities. But then let somebody like me come in there or or Darwin coming and saying, look, man, I suffered the whole time, and this is what happened. These are the medical records. So tell me how you helped us. Or you come in with a Krystal Clark, because even have given a speech, they didn't show a video or a picture of Krystal Clark and all her medical things and make them attest it. They, you know what I'm saying? They didn't indict them on on what the courts found and ask them specifically questions off of the court ruling and show pictures. So so when you don't do that, then you do a disservice to the actual issue, because you're not adding potatoes to it. You've given an overview of what you've heard instead of giving them something to see.
That's right.
That's why they had to talk about the ventilation instead of talking about how it's really affecting people. It takes the humanity out of it. You know, you're talking about the furnaces and the and everything else, the infrastructure, but we are not focusing on what it's actually doing to the people. Exactly. You know, Krystal might be the poster child of it because she's allergic to it, and it's just manifesting all through, coming out of her body and everything, through her ears and behind her ears and all of this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And she's been very vocal about it, and that's why she's the poster child for it. But it's many women in there that are sick. You know, we had to always go back to Teresa Dunlap, who they allow the mold to grow in her chemo port.
Oh,
black mold to grow in her chemo port. So of course you hear stories like this, and then they ask Krystal why she don't want to do a surgery. Are you kidding me? You trying to pour bleach in my ears to clean out mold?
I think that what's going to benefit me the most, like, is the fact that I did take the time and document my paper trail every time that it was something wrong and I felt like they weren't trying to give me any assistance. I would write another grievance and I write another kite on top of that out of frustration, saying, hey, I said something on this date and y'all told me when you made your round. And when they make their round and they come in the unit and they sign that log book, that's the only thing, that's where their responsibility stops. Hey, I came in the unit, made a round, see that the person was live on the bunk. That's all they care about, and they keep going. So we have to hold them accountable. We got to. We got
and
to.
they get paid. They get paid for that little sorry signature that they put on there. They get paid for that.
Yep. Yep. And if they late for doing it, they get in trouble for it. They have to make those medical rounds.
That's not even, that's just a round. That's not even a medical round.
Exactly. And they consider that, that's what I mean about that broad discretion. That medical round, that one signature in that log book, that's their bare minimum on the bottom as far as what they're required to do, as far as anything, like, for real. Anything else is, it's not, it's unreal.
Lucky, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, peace out.
Lucky? Oh, he popped out? Okay. So, yeah, go ahead, Trisha.
No, I think everything that was said tonight, you know, people need to really just digest that and understand that people still suffering because they are released from that beast does not mean that it's all over now, because as we hear, people are home and they still suffering. And so you know, I just hope it would behoove us all to really just understand we got to start paying attention. We never know when ourselves or our loved ones could even land in that position. You know, I have a loved one that I'm praying, right, doesn't go, but they looking at possibly life in Women's Huron Valley Prison. You know, and I'm telling them, like, oh my gosh, you know, we fighting so hard. And you on your way in the place we fighting against. You know what I'm saying? To be subject to this, like, I just want people to understand it's real. And I just want to say to these church people, church folks, Um,
MOT.
Jesus was concerned about the prisoner.
Mhm.
Jesus, prisoner, and those that were incarcerated was very high up on the list of Christ. I look at
First
a lot
Corinthians
of,
chapter 13.
there you go. A lot of things that Christ was concerned about. I don't see our modern day church concerned about that. So I will behoove us all to go back to that original zeal and wanting to be Christ-like, because it's more than just a term. It's an embodiment of a lifestyle and how you live in love and how you live to serve. You know what I'm saying? Serve those that need help the most. I want to leave us with that. Jesus was concerned about the prisoner, and you should be too.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Darwin, what
Yes, ma'am.
do you have anything you want to leave us with?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna ask y'all to excuse me because I'm very passionate about this cause, like for several reasons. And thanks for having me and helping me, because I've been one who's been trying to bring light to this subject since before I came home, and Tricia will tell you that. So I'm not one that just been talking about it, and I've been put in the work. I done sat down on the ground and refused to move until they came and brought me health care and brought me and gave me medical treatment. So I refused to eat. I laid in the cell. I went to the hole. I did all that. So, and to get on the phone and call Tricia and be like, hey, call Lancer for me. I'm still doing it. So, and I'm still doing it. So, y'all fight is my fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was.
I have a, I have a deposition
Yeah.
on the
Oh, wait.
8th.
No, go
I
ahead.
have,
On the 8th?
yeah, I have a deposition on the 8th in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the Blasky Law Firm. I filed a suit against the surgeon who actually did the botched surgery on me. And this time around, it seems he's in a bit of a hucklebuck, to say the least. So I'm going to give a deposition, and I was blessed with two of the biggest firms in Michigan to jump on my case at the last day with legal experts. So
Wow.
yeah, so I'm pretty fortunate right now, and it took a lot to just maintain the fight. But Proverbs teaches us if you faint during your time of adversity, your strength is small.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm so proud of you. Right quick, right before Reverend Tia goes, I'm so proud of you, Darwin. I am so. I've just seen an adjustment, even in just your everyday demeanor. I've watched how you was just really treated like you was nothing, and you didn't accept that for yourself, right? You kept continuing to fight, and just like I say the same thing for Krystal. A lot of people could just lay down and be down, and that's it. But y'all choose to fight back, and y'all fight. You're fighting back is going to help so many people. So I just want to tell you, thank you for joining us tonight, and I am really proud of you, man.
Anytime, and thank you. Like, I mean, you was there. You made the calls when I couldn't even get out of bed because I was so sick with COVID and pneumonia. And you called Lance, and then when they took my parole from me as a lifer, then at the same time told me I was a menace to society, but let me go 30 days later. You was there, so you knew what was going on. So you seen it. So just like the rest of my family, like I know without my family I would be nothing. I know my adjustment periods would be a lot more difficult. I knew all the pitfalls that I faced with those medical issues. I knew everything would compound if I didn't allow my support system to support me its best way possible, regardless of how stubborn I am. But it works its way out when all things work out for the greater good.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm telling you, there's so many atrocities, and the ones that I've talked about that we went over today, and some of the people who were awarded, just think all the people who are still suffering, like Krystal, all of the people who are still not being treated right at all. And let's not forget the sexual abuse and medical misconduct in the Macomb County jail.
Mm.
employed by WellPath. At that time it was Horizon. They already talked about how they changed the face of the company many times. Sexually abused 3 female prisoners from 2018 to 2022. They received $2.4 million in damages. It still does not no compensation. I really want to hone in on the fact. These are facts. You can look this up. You can research. People research for everything else, but when it comes to people from a vulnerable population, they want to go with whatever narrative instead of really discovering what has happened. But it is documented that there has been ongoing systemic issues in Michigan prisons. It's documented. It's in the news. It's everywhere. You can look this up. Chronic neglect of serious medical needs, sometimes resulting in death or long-term harm. You've heard the stories today. Institutional reluctance or inability to provide adequate medical resources, compounded by failures of oversight. Advocacy and legal pressure have occasionally prompted reviews, settlements, or policy changes, but problems persist. There's no change. Operational constraints like understaffing and low wages have make consistent, timely care difficult. I can't go any further than that. I just think I'm so glad, Jay, that you wanted to pop up today. I think this is very important, Trisha, and everyone who has listened tonight, because the change has to happen now. And either you're going to be part of the solution or you're going to be a part of the problem.
Right. So as we listen tonight to Darwin's story and Lucky's story and even Krystal's story, their fight reminds us that prison neglect is a human rights crisis. Yeah. And together we can turn these moments into a movement for dignity, justice, and for freedom. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. And we'll see you again, turning a moment into a movement.
Just light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Just light of mine. Just light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh Lord, just let it shine. This light of mine, this light of mine. Oh Lord, would you please just let it shine. Take the drama out of my life. Oh Lord, every night the pain ain't right. I wake up at night, I never sleep. 26, 10, and 7, that's just me. Every day I need a little seed. I need a little fresh air, man, I need to breathe. All I know is trauma, all I know is tickets. All I know is no visit. All I know is a mission to get straight up out of prison. Lord have mercy for me. Lord have mercy on my people. Preacher Mary Washington and all my real. Lord have mercy with my people. I pray to God, we really need you. When I was down bad, when things weren't going right, every time I prayed at night, I put my hands up in my face. I said, Lord have mercy, little light of mine. Lord God, please let it shine. It's the drama that I live in my life. I swear to God, I was a bad guy every night. 10 toes down, salute. Everybody suffering, everybody who trying to make a way. Everybody looking for the sky, everybody looking for that piece of pie. In a law library, I know what that feel like. Hoping that somebody get active and involved in your situation. Man, pop your collar and pray. Cause Lord have mercy on my soul. And they make bad guy father get out soon. And the rest of those brothers who be mobbing to child each morning. Oh man, I ain't going to this afternoon. Man, I'ma miss dinner today. I got a couple noodles. Hey, you know what that feel like? Yeah, you know what it is. And if you a victim of a wrongful conviction, suffered and served by Ken Worthy, then I know that you know what that pain feel like. And your mama know what that pain feel like. Your father know what that pain feel like. With that light, let that little shine. Let that light shine a little light of mine, huh? Bad guy, Doughboy Week, all these great people in this great world of ours. 10 toes down, salute. I appreciate you, bad guy. I appreciate you, Week. I appreciate the tech. I appreciate everybody in the studio. We gonna pop off that LV, ooh-wee, cause that's what they be liking to see. But I hope you hear the missing when you see me fresh. Salute.